I'm not certain what this moment looks like for you right now, but something pulled my attention toward you, and it would feel incomplete not to say something. I want to ask you a question, not about the surface of your life, the parts everyone can see, but about what's been shifting beneath it all. What's been stirring in the quiet spaces inside you? Is there a weight you're carrying? Or has something begun to lighten? Do your days feel full of possibility? Or are they pressing down on you in ways you haven't named yet? You don't owe me an explanation. You don't owe anyone that. But I need you to know that right now, in this exact moment, you showed up in my awareness with intention. And if no one paused when the calendar turned, if no one acknowledged the battles you fought in silence or the strength it took just to stay present, then let this be that moment. I want you to hear something that perhaps no one has said to you yet. I've watched your journey. Not in the obvious ways, not just the milestones or the visible wins, but in the subtle shifts, the internal recalibrations that no one else notices. You're further along than you give yourself credit for. I'm not proud of you because of what you accomplished or what you can point to on a list. I'm proud of you because you stayed. Because on the days when it would have been so much easier to just check out, to numb yourself or retreat into the fog, you chose to remain. That choice, that quiet persistence, carries more power than you understand. You hold more significance than you've allowed yourself to believe. There is only one frequency like yours in all of existence, and that is not a small thing. That is not insignificant. As this year begins to unfold, I genuinely sense it will meet you differently. Not without challenge, not without the friction that shapes us, but with more grace, more stability, more resonance with the version of yourself you're growing into. Here's what I need you to understand. You haven't fallen behind. You haven't missed the window on anything that was truly meant for you. The universe doesn't operate on deadlines that exclude you. And there's an old truth that keeps echoing back to me, one worth remembering now. There is a fracture in everything. That's not the problem. That's the entry point. That's where the light finds its way through. Take care of yourself, truly. And as this new year opens before you, may it reflect back to you the care you've been quietly giving yourself all along. But here's what I really want to talk about, because what I just shared with you, that wasn't just a kind message. It was a transmission. And whether you felt it or not, something in your field just shifted. That's how this works. That's the thing most people don't realize about language, about attention, about care directed toward you with precision. It doesn't just land as words. It lands as frequency. And frequency reorganizes matter. Frequency reorganizes your internal reality. Which means the moment you truly receive acknowledgement, the moment you let yourself be seen, not for what you've done, but for the fact that you're still here, still choosing, still breathing through it all, you've already begun to change the structure of what's possible for you. Let me take you deeper into this, because this is where quantum mechanics stops being abstract theory and starts becoming the most practical tool you have for navigating your life. You've been told that reality is fixed, that circumstances dictate your experience, that the past determines the future. And on the surface, it looks that way. It looks like the world just is what it is, and you're moving through it, reacting to it, doing your best to manage what shows up. But that's not how the quantum field operates. That's not how consciousness interacts with the fabric of reality itself. At the quantum level, Nothing is solid until it's observed. Nothing is determined until awareness collapses the wave of potential into a single experience. And you, right now, are the observer. Not passively, not accidentally. You are the conscious presence that determines which version of reality materializes around you. The quality of your attention, the frequency you're holding, the coherence or incoherence of your inner state, all of that is actively selecting from an infinite field of possibility which timeline you step into next. Most people move through life unaware of this. They think their thoughts are private, that their emotions are just internal weather patterns that don't affect the external world. But every thought you think, every feeling you embody, every belief you hold about yourself and what's possible, that's all information being broadcast into the field. And the field responds. Not eventually. Not someday when you've done enough work or become worthy enough. Right now, in real time. The field is always responding to the signal you're emitting, always reflecting back to you the frequency you're holding, always matching your inner state with external circumstances that mirror it. So when I told you earlier that you matter, that you're doing better than you think, that this year will meet you with more grace, I wasn't offering empty reassurance. I was interrupting the loop. I was introducing a new frequency into your system, one that says, you are not broken, you are not behind, you are not the problem. And when you receive that, when you let it land not just in your mind, but in your body, in your nervous system, in the part of you that's been holding tension for so long, it feels normal. Something fundamental shifts. The signal changes. And when the signal changes, the reflection has no choice but to change with it. This is the part where most people stumble. They hear this and they think, okay, so I just need to think positive thoughts. I just need to affirm my way into a better reality. And then they try it, and nothing changes. And they conclude that this doesn't work, that it's just more spiritual bypassing, more toxic positivity dressed up in quantum language. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is they're trying to change the signal from the mind alone. And the mind is not where the signal originates. The signal originates in the body, in the nervous system, in the emotional field, in the subconscious patterns that were wired in before you had language to question them. You can say affirmations all day long, but if your body is still holding the belief that you're unsafe, that you're not enough, that good things don't happen to people like you, then that's the signal the field receives. The words in your mind are surface level. The frequency in your body is what broadcasts, and this is why so many people feel stuck. They're trying to override their inner state with mental effort, and it doesn't work that way. You can't think your way out of a frequency you're embodying. You have to shift the frequency itself. You have to change the internal environment. You have to recalibrate the nervous system so that safety, worthiness, and possibility become your baseline. Not something you're reaching for, but something you're resting in. So how do you do that? How do you shift the signal when the patterns are so deeply embedded you don't even notice them anymore? You start by noticing. You start by bringing awareness to the loop you've been running. Not to judge it, not to fix it, just to see it. Because the moment you see it, you're no longer inside it. You're the observer again, and the observer has the power to choose differently. Here's what that looks like in practice. Let's say you notice that every time something good starts to happen, you have this reflex to brace for impact. Some part of you whispers, "Don't get too excited. It's probably not going to last. You'll just be disappointed again." That's not pessimism. That's not you being realistic. That's your nervous system running a protection program, trying to keep you safe from the pain of loss by preventing you from fully opening to what's here. And it makes sense. If you've been hurt before, if you've had things taken away, if you've learned that joy is temporary and pain is inevitable, of course, some part of you would try to guard against that. But here's the cost. In trying to protect you from future pain, that pattern is also keeping you from fully receiving present joy. It's collapsing every moment of possibility into the same familiar outcome. And the field, always responsive, always matching your frequency, keeps delivering experiences that confirm the pattern. So you notice this. You see the reflex, and instead of letting it run automatically, you pause. You breathe. You bring your awareness into your body and you ask, what would it feel like to let this be good? What would it feel like to stay open, to stay present, to let this moment of joy exist without immediately preparing for it to end? And you might not have an answer. You might just feel the tension, the resistance, the old wiring trying to pull you back into the familiar pattern. But you stay with it. You keep breathing. You keep asking. You let the question itself begin to soften the grip of the pattern. And then something starts to shift. Maybe it's subtle at first. Maybe it's just a slight easing in your chest, a softening in your shoulders, a sense that maybe, just maybe, it's safe to let something good land. That's the frequency changing. That's the signal recalibrating, and the field receives it. The field always receives it. Because the field doesn't care about your story. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care how many times you've been hurt or how many times you've tried and failed. The field only responds to the frequency you're holding right now. And when you shift the frequency, even slightly, the reflection begins to shift with it. This is where the practice deepens. Because it's not enough to do this once. It's not enough to have a moment of insight, a moment of softening, and then go back to the default program. The default program is strong. It's been running for a long time. It has momentum. And if you don't consciously interrupt it again and again, it will pull you back in. So the practice is repetition. The practice is noticing the pattern, pausing, breathing, asking the question, letting the frequency shift, and then doing it again the next time the pattern shows up, and the next time, and the next time. Until the new frequency becomes more familiar than the old one. Until the nervous system starts to recognize safety, worthiness, and possibility as home. And if what we're exploring here is resonating with you, if you're feeling that shift beginning to happen even as you listen, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps this frequency reach more people who are ready for it. Now, let's continue. And here's what happens when you do this consistently. Here's what happens when you stop trying to override the pattern with mental effort and start shifting the frequency at the somatic level, at the nervous system level, at the place where the signal actually originates. Your external reality begins to change. Not because you manifested it through force of will, not because you did enough affirmations or visualizations or vision boards, but because you changed the signal you were broadcasting, and the field responded. It always responds. That's the law. That's how the quantum field operates. It matches your frequency. It reflects your inner state. It delivers experiences that correspond to the signal you're holding. So if your inner state is one of lack, of not enoughness, of bracing for disappointment, the field will continue to deliver experiences that mirror that frequency. Not as punishment, not because you're doing something wrong, but because that's the signal you're emitting, and the field is neutral. It doesn't judge, it doesn't withhold, it simply reflects. But when you shift the signal, when you start to embody safety, worthiness, possibility, not as something you're reaching for, but as something you're resting in, the field has no choice but to reflect that back to you. That's when synchronicities start showing up. That's when opportunities appear that weren't there before. That's when people, resources, and circumstances align in ways that feel almost miraculous. But it's not a miracle. It's the field responding to the frequency you finally allowed yourself to hold. Now I want to pause here for a moment, because there's something I need you to do. Not later. Not when you have time. Right now. I want you to take a moment and comment below with this exact phrase: I am the frequency that shifts reality. Don't just read that and move on. Actually do it. Type it out. Let your fingers move across the keyboard. Let the words become physical action. Because this isn't just a comment. This is a declaration. This is you signaling to the field, to your own nervous system, to the part of you that's been waiting for permission, that you're ready to step into this understanding, that you're ready to recognize yourself not as a passive recipient of reality, but as the active force that shapes it. So go ahead. Pause the video if you need to. Leave that comment. I am the frequency that shifts reality. Let it land. Let it register. Let it begin to reorganize the field around you. Good. Now let's go even deeper. Because there's another layer to this that most people never explore. And it's this. The reason you've been stuck in certain patterns, the reason certain loops keep repeating, is not because you're broken or because you're doing something wrong. It's because at some point, usually in childhood, usually before you had the awareness to question it, you learned that a particular pattern was the safest way to navigate your environment. Maybe you learned that being small, being quiet, being invisible was how you avoided conflict. Maybe you learned that achieving, performing, proving your worth was how you earned love and approval. Maybe you learned that shutting down emotionally, not letting anyone see the real you, was how you protected yourself from being hurt. And here's the thing. Those patterns worked. They kept you safe. They helped you survive. And some part of you is still running them because it believes they're necessary. It believes that if you stop being small, if you stop performing, if you stop protecting, you'll be in danger again. So even though you consciously want to change, even though you know these patterns are limiting you, some deeper part of you is still clinging to them because it thinks they're keeping you alive. This is why willpower doesn't work. This is why you can't just decide to be different and have it stick. Because the part of you that's running the pattern isn't operating from conscious choice. It's operating from survival programming. And you can't override survival programming with logic or positive thinking. You have to meet it at its own level. You have to speak to the part of you that's afraid, the part that's been protecting you, and you have to show it that it's safe now, that the danger has passed, that you have new resources, new awareness, new capacity to navigate what's here without needing to stay small or shut down or perform for love. And when you do that, when you actually meet the pattern with compassion instead of judgment, when you thank it for trying to keep you safe and gently show it that there's another way now, something profound happens. The pattern loosens, the grip relaxes, and suddenly you have space to choose differently. Not because you forced it, not because you overpowered it, but because you brought consciousness to what was unconscious. You brought light to what was hidden. And in that light, the pattern can finally release. This is the real work. This is what it means to shift your frequency. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's not about bypassing your pain or ignoring your patterns. It's about bringing awareness to what's been running in the background, meeting it with compassion, and consciously choosing a new response. And when you do that, when you shift from unconscious reaction to conscious choice, the signal changes, the frequency changes, and the field, always responsive, always reflecting, begins to deliver a different reality. So here's what I want you to understand. The message I opened with, the acknowledgement that you matter, that you're doing better than you think, that this year will be kinder to you. That wasn't just kindness. That was a frequency intervention. That was me speaking directly to the part of you that's been holding tension, that's been waiting for permission, that's been wondering if it's okay to finally let something good land. And if you let it in, if you let it shift something in your body, in your nervous system, in your emotional field, then you've already begun to change the signal. You've already begun to recalibrate, and the field is already responding. And if this is landing for you, if something in this conversation is touching a place inside you that's been waiting to be seen, then I want to invite you to subscribe, not just to this channel, but to this frequency, to this understanding, to this practice of bringing consciousness to what's unconscious and choosing differently. Because the more you engage with this, the more you immerse yourself in this frequency, the more it becomes your baseline. The more it becomes the signal you're broadcasting without effort. And that's when everything changes. That's when you stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold. That's when you step into the flow of what's already trying to come through you. Now, as we move toward the close of this transmission, I want to give you something practical, something you can take with you. A practice you can return to whenever you notice yourself falling back into the old patterns, the old frequency, the old signal. It's simple, but don't mistake simplicity for weakness. The most powerful tools are often the simplest ones. Here it is. When you notice the pattern, when you feel the old frequency starting to take over, stop. Breathe. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And ask yourself this question. What would love do right now? Not what would fear do. Not what would the old pattern do. What would love do? And then wait. Don't rush to answer. Don't let your mind jump in with what it thinks the answer should be. Just ask the question and wait. Let the answer emerge from the body, from the heart, from the deeper intelligence that knows what you need. And whatever arises, even if it's not what you expected, even if it's uncomfortable, trust it. Because love doesn't always look like comfort. Sometimes love is the boundary you need to set. Sometimes love is the truth you need to speak. Sometimes love is the choice to walk away from what's no longer serving you. But whatever form it takes, it will always move you toward greater coherence, greater alignment, greater resonance with who you're becoming. And that's the frequency that shifts reality. That's the signal the field responds to. That's what changes everything. Now, what we're exploring here today, this understanding of how frequency shapes reality, how your signal determines what the field reflects back to you, this is foundational work. But I want you to know that what we're touching on in this video is really just the surface layer of a much deeper system. If you're feeling called to go beyond these concepts and actually embody the complete frequency architecture. To move through all 9 ascending currents from survival static to living as the field itself, I've created a comprehensive guide that takes you through the entire journey step by step. It's called Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery, and it contains layers upon layers of understanding about becoming the broadcast rather than seeking the signal. You'll find it linked in the pinned comment below. So as this new year unfolds, as you navigate whatever comes next, remember this: you are not a passive observer. You are the active force. You are the frequency that shapes the field. And every time you pause, every time you breathe, every time you choose love over fear, conscious presence over unconscious reaction, you are recalibrating the signal. You are changing what's possible. You are stepping into a version of reality that was always available but couldn't materialize until you were ready to hold the frequency of it. But let's go even deeper into this, because there's a dimension of what I'm sharing that often gets overlooked, and it's perhaps the most crucial piece. When we talk about shifting frequency, when we talk about changing your signal, it's easy to think of this as something you do once, like flipping a switch, and then everything changes. But that's not how transformation actually works. That's not how the nervous system rewires itself. That's not how new patterns take root in the soil of your being. Real change happens in layers. It happens through repetition, through consistency, through showing up to the practice even when, especially when, you don't feel like it. Think about it this way. Your current reality, the one you're living right now, is not the result of one decision you made yesterday or last week. It's the result of thousands of micro decisions, thousands of small choices, thousands of moments where you either reinforced the old pattern or created space for something new. Every time you chose to stay small when you wanted to speak up. Every time you dimmed your light to make others comfortable. Every time you told yourself that what you wanted wasn't possible or wasn't for people like you were sending a signal to the field. And the field responded. It always responds. It gave you more evidence that staying small was necessary, more proof that dimming your light was safer, more confirmation that what you wanted was out of reach. But here's the beautiful thing. Here's the thing that changes everything. Just as those patterns were built through repetition, they can be dismantled through repetition. Just as the old signal was reinforced through thousands of small choices, a new signal can be established through thousands of new choices. And you don't have to get it perfect. You don't have to shift your entire frequency in one dramatic leap. You just have to choose differently in this moment, and then in the next moment, and then in the moment after that. Because every single time you choose differently, you're creating evidence for your nervous system that it's safe to be different. You're proving to the subconscious mind that the old pattern isn't the only option. You're building new neural pathways, new somatic responses, new frequencies that gradually, steadily become more familiar than the old ones. Let me give you a concrete example of what this looks like. Let's say you've spent most of your life operating from a frequency of scarcity, not because you chose it consciously, but because somewhere along the way, you absorbed the message that there's never enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough love, not enough of anything. And this frequency of scarcity has been running in the background of your consciousness like a program, influencing every decision you make, every opportunity you evaluate, every relationship you enter. It's the lens through which you see the world. And because it's the frequency you're broadcasting, the field keeps reflecting it back to you. You notice all the ways there's not enough. You miss opportunities because you're too focused on protecting what little you have. You hold on too tightly to relationships because you believe if you let go, no one else will come. Now, shifting from scarcity to abundance, from lack to sufficiency, that's not something that happens overnight. You can't just say an affirmation one time and expect your entire nervous system to recalibrate. Because that scarcity pattern has roots. It has history. It has been your survival strategy for so long that letting it go feels dangerous. So the shift happens gradually. It happens through small acts of trust. It happens when you notice the scarcity thought arising, and instead of letting it run automatically, you pause and ask, is that actually true? Is there really not enough? Or is that just the old program speaking? And maybe the first time you ask that question, the answer is still yes, it feels true, there really isn't enough. But you ask it anyway. You create the pause, you interrupt the automatic response, and then maybe the next day, or the next week, you ask it again. And this time, just for a moment, you feel a slight opening, a tiny crack in the certainty of the scarcity story, and you notice something you have, something you've been taking for granted. Maybe it's the fact that you have clean water to drink, or a place to sleep, or someone in your life who cares about you. It's not everything you want, but it's something. And in that moment, that noticing, you've just shifted the frequency. You've just sent a different signal to the field, and then you keep doing it. You keep interrupting the automatic scarcity response and looking for evidence of sufficiency. Not to bypass the real challenges you're facing, not to pretend everything is perfect when it's not, but to train your nervous system to recognize what's actually here, what's actually available, what's actually true beyond the lens of the old pattern. And slowly, gradually, your baseline begins to shift. The frequency of abundance starts to feel more familiar than the frequency of scarcity. And when that happens, when the new frequency becomes your default, that's when the external reality begins to shift in ways that feel almost magical. Opportunities appear. Resources show up. People offer help you didn't even know you needed. Not because you forced it or manifested it through sheer will, but because you changed the signal and the field responded. This is what it means to do the work. This is what it means to shift your frequency. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting. It's often subtle, quiet, invisible to everyone except you. But it's powerful. It's the most powerful thing you can do. Because when you change your frequency, when you shift the signal you're broadcasting, you're not just changing your personal experience, you're changing the information field around you. You're influencing the quantum possibilities that can collapse into form. You're becoming a different attractor in the field, drawing towards you experiences, people, and circumstances that match the new frequency you're embodying. And here's something else that's crucial to understand. This work is not linear. It's not like you shift the frequency and then you're done. It's more like a spiral. You'll find yourself coming back to the same patterns again and again, but each time you come back, you're at a different level of awareness. You're carrying more consciousness. You're responding with more choice. And that's not failure. That's not evidence that you're not making progress. That's exactly how growth works. You spiral up through the same territory, but you're never in the same place twice. Each pass through the pattern gives you another opportunity to choose differently, to respond from a deeper level of awareness, to embody the frequency you're claiming more fully. I'm curious, as you're hearing this, what old pattern are you noticing in yourself right now? What's the frequency you've been running that you're finally ready to shift. Drop a comment below and share what's coming up for you. Sometimes naming it is the first step in changing it. So when the old pattern shows up again, and it will, don't judge yourself. Don't think you failed or that you're back at square one. Just notice it. Thank it for showing up, because it's giving you another opportunity to practice. And then make the choice. Ask the question. Shift the frequency. Even if it's just a little bit. Even if it's just for a moment. Because those moments add up, those small shifts compound, and over time, they create a completely different reality. Now there's another layer to this that I want to explore with you, and it has to do with the way your frequency affects not just your personal reality, but the collective field. Because you don't exist in isolation. You're part of a larger web of consciousness, a larger network of interconnected fields. And when you shift your frequency, when you change your signal, you're not just affecting your own experience. You're affecting everyone around you. You're sending ripples through the collective field that others can feel, even if they don't consciously recognize it. Think about the last time you were around someone who was genuinely at peace, someone who was embodying a frequency of calm, centered presence. You didn't have to ask them how they were feeling. You could feel it. Their state affected your state. Their frequency influenced your frequency. That's not woo-woo. That's not just metaphor. That's measurable. Studies on heart coherence have shown that the electromagnetic field generated by one person's heart can be detected several feet away from their body. And when someone is in a state of coherence, when their heart and mind are aligned, that field has a measurable effect on the nervous systems of people nearby. It helps regulate them. It helps bring them into coherence too. This is the power of your frequency. This is why the work you're doing on yourself matters beyond just your personal experience. When you shift from chaos to coherence, from fear to love, from scarcity to abundance, you're not just changing your life. You're changing the field. You're becoming a source of coherence that others can attune to. You're providing an anchor point, a stable frequency that others can synchronize with. And the more people who do this, the more people who commit to shifting their own frequency, the more the collective field begins to shift. This is how change happens at scale. Not through force, not through trying to change everyone else or fix what's broken in the world, but through each person taking responsibility for their own frequency, for their own signal, for the quality of presence they're bringing to every moment. Because when enough people shift, when enough people embody coherence, the collective field has no choice but to reflect that back. New possibilities open up. Solutions that weren't visible before suddenly become obvious. Systems that seemed immovable begin to shift. And it all starts with you, with me, with each individual making the choice to interrupt the automatic pattern and choose a different frequency. Take a moment and think about someone in your life who might benefit from hearing this right now. Someone who's been struggling with their own patterns, their own frequency, their own relationship to reality. Share this video with them, not just because it might help them, but because the act of sharing this understanding actually strengthens it in your own field. When you pass on frequency work, when you become a transmitter of consciousness, you deepen your own coherence. You reinforce the signal you're choosing to broadcast, and you create ripples in the collective field that benefit everyone. So every time you pause and breathe, every time you choose love over fear, every time you shift from unconscious reaction to conscious response, you're not just helping yourself. You're contributing to the collective evolution of consciousness. You're part of the larger shift that's happening on this planet right now. And that matters. It matters more than you know. Let me share something with you about timing, because I think there's confusion around when change happens, when the shift occurs, when the new reality materializes. People often think there's going to be this moment, this clear before and after, where suddenly everything is different. And sometimes it does happen that way. Sometimes there are breakthrough moments, quantum leaps where your reality reorganizes so dramatically that you can't help but notice. But more often, the shift happens so gradually that you don't even realize it's occurring until you look back and see how far you've come. It's like watching a plant grow. If you sit there and stare at it, you won't see any movement. But if you come back a week later, a month later, you'll see the change. You'll see the new growth, the new leaves, the evidence that something has been happening beneath the surface all along. That's how frequency shifts work. The change is happening constantly, but it's often imperceptible in any single moment. It's only when you zoom out, when you look at the larger pattern, that you can see the transformation. And this is where patience becomes part of the practice. Not passive waiting, not giving up because you don't see immediate results, but active patience. The kind of patience that trusts the process, that knows the field is responding even when you can't see it yet, that keeps showing up to the practice even when nothing seems to be changing. Because here's what's true: the field is always responding. There is never a moment when your frequency isn't being matched, when your signal isn't being reflected back to you. But there's often a lag time between the shift in frequency and the manifestation in form. Think of it like planting a seed. The moment you put that seed in the ground, you've initiated a process. But you don't see the plant the next day. You don't see the roots growing beneath the soil, the stem pushing up through the darkness, the internal reorganization that's happening before anything breaks through the surface. But the growth is happening. The process is unfolding. And if you dig up the seed every day to check if it's growing, you'll actually interrupt the process. You'll damage what's trying to emerge. The same is true with frequency shifts. When you change your signal, when you shift your internal state, you've planted a seed in the quantum field, and that seed is growing. The field is responding. Reality is reorganizing itself to match the new frequency. But if you're constantly checking for results, constantly looking for evidence, constantly doubting whether it's working, you're actually sending a mixed signal. Part of you is holding the new frequency, but another part is still operating from the old frequency of doubt, of lack, of not yet. And the field responds to the whole signal, not just the part you're consciously trying to broadcast. This is why trust is so essential. Trust is not blind faith. Trust is not pretending everything is fine when you're struggling. Trust is the willingness to hold the new frequency even when the external evidence hasn't caught up yet. Trust is the capacity to know that the field is responding, that the process is unfolding, that the change is happening even when you can't see it. And that trust, that unwavering commitment to the new frequency, that's what allows the manifestation to occur. That's what lets the seed grow undisturbed until it's ready to break through the surface. So if you've been doing this work, if you've been shifting your frequency and you're wondering why nothing has changed yet, consider this. Maybe everything is changing and you just can't see it yet. Maybe the roots are growing. Maybe the field is reorganizing. Maybe the new reality is forming beneath the surface of your awareness, and it just needs a little more time, a little more trust, a little more consistent holding of the frequency before it becomes visible. And while you're waiting, while you're trusting, keep doing the work. Keep interrupting the old patterns. Keep choosing the new frequency. Keep asking yourself what love would do in this moment. Because every time you do that, you're reinforcing the signal. You're strengthening the new neural pathways. You're proving to your nervous system that the new way is safe, that the new frequency is sustainable, that you can hold this vibration consistently enough for it to become your baseline. There's one more thing I want to share with you before we close, and it's about the relationship between your frequency and your purpose. Because I believe, and my experience has shown me, that when you shift your frequency, when you move into coherence and alignment, you naturally begin to live in a way that's more connected to your deeper purpose. Not because you figured out what your purpose is through mental analysis. Not because someone told you what you're supposed to do, but because purpose emerges naturally from the frequency of coherence. When you're operating from fear, from scarcity, from the survival patterns that have been running your life, you're too busy protecting yourself to hear the deeper calling. You're too consumed with making sure you're safe, with proving you're enough, with managing other people's perceptions, to notice what's trying to come through you. But when you shift into a frequency of trust, of sufficiency, of love, something opens up. The noise quiets down, and in that quietness, you start to hear the whispers of what wants to be created through you, what wants to be expressed, what you came here to offer. Your purpose is not something you have to find or figure out. It's something that reveals itself when you're in the right frequency to receive it. And the right frequency is not some elevated spiritual state you have to attain. It's simply the frequency of being fully present, fully alive, fully yourself, without the armor, without the masks, without the patterns that have been keeping you small. When you drop all of that, when you let yourself be who you actually are, beneath the conditioning, your purpose becomes obvious. It's what you naturally gravitate toward. It's what lights you up. It's what you would do even if no one was watching, even if no one applauded, even if you never got paid for it. And when you start living from that place, when your actions start aligning with the frequency of your authentic self, something shifts in the field. Opportunities show up that are perfectly aligned with what you're here to do. People appear who need exactly what you have to offer. Resources flow in ways that support the expression of your purpose. Not because you're manifesting from ego, not because you're trying to force outcomes, but because you're finally in alignment. You're finally broadcasting the signal of who you actually are, and the field is responding by delivering experiences that match that truth. You're not behind. You haven't missed anything. The cracks you've been carrying, the fractures that felt like flaws, those are exactly where the light gets in. Those are exactly what make you capable of holding this frequency, of transmitting it, of being the one who shifts not just your own reality, but the collective field itself. Because that's what happens when you do this work. You don't just change your own life. You become a source of frequency that others can attune to. You become proof that it's possible. You become the living example of what happens when someone finally stops running the old program and chooses to embody something new. So take care of yourself, not just in the ways you've been taught, but in the deeper ways, the ways that honor the frequency you came here to hold. And before you go, I want to ask you one more thing. Drop one word in the comments below. One word that captures the energy you're choosing to embody as you step forward from this moment. Not the energy you've been holding, not the frequency you've been stuck in, the energy you're choosing now, the frequency you're claiming. Let that word be your signal to the field. Let it be your declaration. Let it be the beginning of what's already trying to shift. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent, to stay in this frequency, to keep reminding yourself that reality is not fixed, that you are not powerless, that every moment is an opportunity to shift the signal and watch the field respond. The more of us who hold this understanding, who embody this frequency, who choose consciousness over unconsciousness, the more the world itself begins to reflect that truth. This is not just personal transformation. This is collective evolution, and you are part of it. You always have been. Take care. And may this year meet you with the grace you've been extending to yourself all along.